this question out for you guys, even though we got to keep it going. This thing that they gave us hyped on, I call it Spooner Silver, obviously. And then I'm going to bring Carmen up as far as, silver deposits around that area, or, they say it's a silver treasure. What is your guys' take, if you can say, on them now looking for a war room full of silver? Ready, go.
Who wants to go first?
I'll go. I think it's probably planted there, deposited there. I don't know if silver is really something that is found on the island naturally, but there were those mercury jars, and I think that is used to with silver, producing the silver, breaking it up, processing of silver. So I don't know. I really don't know. I'm not sure, of course, but I think my theory is that it was deposited there if there was silver.
Okay, next.
I was pretty happy with the science. As a science person, a big data person, I thought it was a really great idea, especially since silver is more corrosive and oxidizes, but gold doesn't. So we can't really track the gold, but we could potentially track the silver. I thought it was an ingenious idea as far as the water sampling was concerned. That being said, it's still hard to discern that data, especially since we've got weird currents going on under there that we really don't have a clear understanding of. So it's still difficult to interpret that type of data, but I think it was a great idea. I think it was a really great thing to be able to test, and the results were unexpected. So I think that definitely leads credence that there's something there. It's hard to say whether or not it's still there in large quantities, or if we're just getting slight oxidized remnants that maybe was left behind. But I do think it definitely adds credence to the story that something at some point was deposited there nearby, and has left traces in those water channels. I think it was a great idea, and it gave some really unexpected results. And I think that's a lot of fun when it comes to trying to apply objective science to something you may not even be a believer in yourself to start.
Yep, and I've asked somebody, and I did get a direct answer. I asked this question. Out of all the soil samples they've been testing for the past, what have they been up there, 13 years? Do you ever check the soil for minerals? The answer up there was absolutely not. And you would think after 13 years, you got your sample, not only looking for a vertical beam or a cross beam, Chris.
Yeah.
Test it for anything. If there was mercury in there, some spots in the swamp, did they test it for mercury? I think in the swamp, in the clay or somewhere, Chris.
There were some broken clay jars that they believe that was a dump pile that they believe that had mercury in those jars. So,
right.
It's tanning. It could be a lot of different things, but, Bacon's documents could be preserved using mercury too. So, it's still up in the air.
Well, you can't argue with the data, right? So if there's traces of silver, then there was silver.
Mm-hmm.
And what it is, no idea. But silver counts as treasure. We always discuss gold, but for example, and completely unrelated, of course, but if you would consider, for example, the treasure of the temple in Jerusalem, there was enormous amounts of silver were used. You can read that in the Bible. So, it doesn't necessarily have to be gold. And to some extent, I think, silver would be easier to work, easier to keep, easier to anything. So
and easier for us to trace.
Easier to trace, yeah. So and I'm not going to discuss with Mr. Spooner. I think he's very skilled and very knowledgeable, and I think he was as surprised as everyone.